But rhetoric wasn't all fun games and entertainment for the ancient Greeks. The renowned classicist and scholar of rhetoric George Kennedy explains in his New History of Classical Rhetoric, it was one of his seminal books, that this fascination with speeches was at least partially due to the vital, life-saving necessity of wielding language persuasively. And Kennedy writes about this elsewhere in his work on comparative rhetoric. He goes so far as to say that all language seems to be related to the desire to preserve energy, or the will to preserve energy. And he's taking kind of like an evolutionary biological position there, where he's saying that, okay, you can imagine animals fighting in the wild, and what they might learn to do so as to not die is to learn how to speak. It's a rough argument, nonetheless. And Kennedy's not an evolutionary biologist, and so you would need to build that build that line of thinking out a bit more for it to hold up. But it seems a compelling start to a theory that, because we don't know right now, we don't have an established theory for the origin of language. That's just one among many. I mean, there are scholars who think that our language comes from humans imitating birdsong because of the natural musicality of language. I find that convincing too in some ways. When my children learn how to speak, I watch them fairly closely and with interest, even just a personal kind of interest as well as the academic interest. And I noticed that my children seem to develop first the kind of sing-songy rhythm, the cadence, the up and down, the phrasing, almost like a musical syntax of language, before they really learn the semantics, the meaning of what they were saying. That's not strictly true either, because there's so much going on developmentally in the acquisition of language. So that's not perfectly convincing either. They also learn how to ask for things they need. And anyway, the Kennedy idea is something about the conservation of energy is the term that he uses, the self-preservation. And the use of language is something of a survival instinct. And in ancient Greece, this is true, likely where he got the idea and inspiration from. There was no regular system of legal representation in ancient Greece. You couldn't just hire a lawyer very easily.